good evening. Welcome back to my little gardening show. I want to take you along, show you where we're at with the warm weather seedlings. It's been about a week and a half since we started these, so let's take a look. Overall, pretty happy with the germination rate. Initially, about 4 days in, the mat was still at 76. I didn't have it kicked up warm enough, so I went ahead and kicked it up to 80 degrees, and that did a trick. Really got things going here. There were a few varieties. Let's see, Kellogg's Breakfast, my Pink Brandywine, and the San Marzanos. San Marzanos, I don't know what the deal is there, but not a whole lot of them came up. So I think that's San Marzanos. Yep. But also had to rotate the tray around. Initially, it was flip-flopped, and my cherry tomatoes were the first ones to sprout, followed by the other varieties. What's kind of interesting is that it seems like the later season tomatoes, the ones that take a lot more days to mature, like the Kellogg's Breakfast, maybe even the Pink Brandywine, they were a lot slower to sprout compared to the cherry tomato. Cherry tomatoes were first, followed by True Black Brandywine and Dester, which typically those are the earliest varieties. The cherry tomatoes especially are usually the first kinds of tomatoes we see, because it didn't take long for the plant to set fruit and develop these small fruits and for them to ripen. So if you're living in a really cold environment, cold climate, or you don't have a very long growing season, one of the things you can do to still get tomatoes is plant cherry tomatoes, because you'll have a good chance of getting the harvest before the season ends. Whereas your varieties that are kind of the late tomatoes, like Kellogg's Breakfast, and there's a few others, typically they take several months before you see anything. A lot of times we're not seeing any of these until like September, maybe late August, but around September is when they start coming in, and September, October. Whereas some of these other varieties, like Dester, True Black Brandywine, True Black Brandywine about midsummer, July or so, we're seeing those. Dester, we're seeing those July, August. So it's kind of interesting that how these sprouted kind of is, indication of what kind of tomatoes these are. Maybe it was just coincidence, but that it just seemed that's how they came up. The peppers, on the other hand, they're pretty much uniform. I mean, pretty much everything was poking through the surface about the same time. Maybe the jalapenos, the red Thai chilies, the smaller fruiting ones were kind of first, like this part of the tray. And then the other ones came up, like my banana pepper. The eggplant was kind of slow to come up. I'm interested about the GMO pepper we've got here. That's basically a cross, or it's got a cross between Trinidad Scorpion, Carolina Reaper, and the Ghost Chili. Kind of interested to see what kind of fruit those bear, because typically, if it's kind of a hybrid variety, brand new, and it takes 7 generations to stabilize a variety, they'll tend to revert back to one or the other parent, and in some of them stay true, and then you take those and you breed them, or you save seeds from that. And if you can get it to be consistent over 7 generations, then it's considered its own variety. It becomes established then, or it becomes an heirloom. So everything's looking really good. Good color. I've been using the fertilizer mix here to water these in. Now that the lids are removed, and with this not being very deep, and with all these sprouts, I'm having to water this once a day. So I'll probably give this a good soaking tonight. So at least once a day, if not twice, to keep things really, really going. But we'll saturate this, and then that'll be good, because the grow lights are going to be going off pretty soon. Everything's going to be dark, and again, the plants, they do most of their growth at night. most of their growth at night. Similar to us, when we were little, we were growing up, we tend to grow overnight, right? That's when our bodies, do the maintenance and repair and growing and all that. Same is true for the plants. Lights are off. They're not having to, they're not doing photosynthesis anymore. So the plants focus on putting out new growth. Basically the energy, all that they've processed during the day, goes into development of new leaves, growing roots, all of that good stuff. It's not that they don't grow during the day. They do grow a little bit during the day, but they do most of their growth at night when the sun's not out, when everything's dark. And they've got a chance to kind of recover from being under the sun or, process everything. So pretty neat stuff. Our next step is, I have to make a continuation because I don't have time to do this tonight. Actually, it's probably going to take me a couple nights to pot all this up. I'll focus on the tomatoes first because they're growing at a lot faster rate than the peppers. I've got a little bit more time on the peppers. But by the end of this week, have everything potted up. I'll probably have 5 or 6 trays of tomatoes and peppers. A good chunk of each variety. And then, I'll have plenty of them for the garden. I also have plenty to give to friends. Neighbors, loved ones, whoever, kind of see how things go. Once this is all going, the next thing would be to start my cucumbers and squash. You can plant those direct in the soil, and I've done that before, but you can also start them. So I'll probably start some plants, at least the cucumbers. They only take about 4 weeks to really get decent size where you can put them out in the garden. So cucumbers, watermelon, maybe. We'll kind of see. Maybe I'll do it both ways this year. Plant some as plant starts and others as direct sow. Just put the seeds in the ground and see what happens. And then after that, I'll do another round of the brassicas and all of that. So we do some succession planting this year. So that's pretty much it in terms of kind of what we're going to be doing here in the grow room. Still got a lot of work to do over at the garden. We really haven't done anything as far as prepping the ground and all of that. I've got onion sets that I need to plant. So this weekend, really, I'm going to try to get out there, get some work done, get a few beds prepped because my the brassicas we started, the cold weather stuff that's over at the greenhouse now, it's probably ready to be planted out in the garden. It's hardened off. It's been under direct sun here a couple days, been exposed to the conditions this last week. So anyway, a lot of work ahead of us. But then once it's in, it's just maintaining it, watering it, weeding it, watching out for pests, things like that. So anyway, I guess that's it for now. Till next time, happy gardening.